Oh man, I saw it.
So
Oh, injuries. Oh yeah.
mm-hmm.
And then you want to do myths of training, or did you have another one?
No, that would work. I
Yeah,
think that's a
there's
good one.
like Navy SEALs are full of myths. You gotta be able to run 5-minute miles. They're fucking
Yeah, well,
thousands
we
of
got
them.
lots too, man.
Yeah, I know you
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I know you do.
All right.
Gotta be able to hold your breath for 5 minutes just to get into the course, man.
That's right. All right. Here we go. I got mine public here in just a sec.
Yeah, I'm fixing mine right now. Okay, go to these three dots right here. Okay, edit Green Beret versus. Okay,
All right. I'm going public on mine.
private, public,
Behind that switch.
done, save.
Yep.
Okay, public, we're good. Make sure I'm looking at it on
Should be
mine, not
live.
yours. Yep. All right, we rolling. What's up, YouTube? Hey man, if you ain't following us over on the War Room podcast, we're gonna have a guest on for 5,000 over there. I'm good to go. Wait, let me make sure I'm on mine because I like to be on
All right.
yours, Nate. I'm on mine. All right, we
I
ready.
got chat.
Oh, hang on, I got
Tell
to
everybody
turn
in the
this
other one.
off. All right, we're good. Damn, Nate, we getting better. It only took us 6 minutes today.
Yeah, we even had some hiccups right before we started.
I'm a little sweaty. I've been working today. I'm trying to clean out this garage. I got to get moved out of this other house. So,
Gentlemen, ladies, everything in between. How y'all doing? Glad you enjoyed us on this fine Sunday for the 8th episode
the 8th.
of Navy SEAL vs. Green Beret. We've done this 2 months already.
Yeah, we've been
Pretty
doing
wild.
good, man. Yeah.
All right, I got my chat up.
That's right. I shaved this off. I lost 40 years of age. I'm just telling y'all right now. If y'all want to keep up with me, you better get some of these Tasty Game gummies right here. This pre-workout. I'm smoking these now. I'm gonna tell you this. Oh, you got Tasty Game gummies too? Hey,
Yeah, they're good,
real
man.
quick. They got creatine gummies, and I was against creatine gummies. I just read a study yesterday. Improves
Help
your
your brain.
mental health by 39% and your memory by 59%. So I will be calling my boys over there at Tasty Gains and get me some creatine gummies. Pop a couple of those a day, man. This brain health stuff is serious to me. If you guys don't know, I got a brain health PDF. Just email me and ask it for it. My bottle, send it back. A bunch of kind of Chinese medicine stuff, but a whole bunch of greatness. Help your brain health. All you vets that are struggling with mental health problems, reach out, man. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it'll tighten it up real quick. In about 3 days, you'll be feeling a lot better.
Yep. Let's see. All right. So today, Jake, what are we talking about for the
Man,
community?
we got a little bit of injuries, what we've seen, how people deal with them, and then we're going to go over to the magical myths of training. You got your training, I got my training, but the magical myths in training. So I got recommended this from two of my guys. I think the injury ones is huge, man. Like I got a guy right now that's talking about his knee is hurting him. And I said, bro, like no one cares in SEAL training, bro. Nope. I had, I kick it off, bro. We're in Hell Week. One of the baddest dudes I know, like last 15 years been competing in 100-mile races and 24-hour races, right? Like his max is 148 miles in 24 hours. He was a professional triathlon dude before he came into the military, went to Texas A&M, savage, okay? He says, Jake, look at this, man. Look at this. I'm like, what is that? He's like, it's my intestines, bro. I think I got a hernia. I'm like, you think? Like, what are you doing? He's like, I've been pushing it back in for the last day and a half. It was like Thursday of Hell Week. I'm like, dude, you gotta, like, are you gonna say something about that? He's like, no, I'm doing fine. Doing fine. And when I mean, like, he had a bulge in his stomach like this, like a solid, like his intestines were coming out of his stomach into the skin lining, and he pushed it back in for 3 days and then secured Hell Week. Yeah, raised his hand. Hey, I got a problem. They're like, when did you do this? He's like, Tuesday. They're like, yep. But see, in the SEAL teams, they're like, yep, that's how you do it. Okay. Yep, no problem. He went, got surgery, missed a class, came back 218, was good to go. But like, I mean, that's just, I mean, it was a joke. Like, I'd run up to him and be like, hey man, how's your stomach doing? He'd be like, with a shirt, be sticking out. He's like, hell, let me put it back in there. Boop, put it back in.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that exact same surgery, inguinal hernia surgery. I also have a hernia above my belly button now. Those are pretty common. Haven't got that one fixed because I guess if it's not painful, I guess you don't need it fixed. I don't know how true that is, but that's what the doctors told me.
Yeah.
But yeah, injuries. The most common, I would say that it's, if we talk about like training, SFAS, SFQC, BUDS, I think probably injuries have got to be the leading cause of guys getting dropped over quitting, over just failing, over anything. I saw so many, whether it be, especially with us, because you got that heavy ass rucksack on and you're doing stuff at night. And so breaking feet, breaking ankles. I broke my foot and my tibia, in left foot, right tibia, doing that exact thing. Sticks in the eye, super common one out there at land navigation.
So
MRSA.
let's talk about it, Nate.
Oof.
Nate, hang on. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you broke your ankle. Did you slow down?
Well, so I broke my foot on a 12-mile ruck march. Okay, I was 3 miles into it, and it was pissing rain this day, summer in North Carolina. We're running downhill, of course, on pavement, and we're running along the like the dirt side of the road because it's an actual paved road that people are going to and from work on. And as I'm running downhill, I step in a puddle, what looks like a puddle because there's puddles everywhere. Turns out it was like a 1.5 foot deep pothole. And so I'm running downhill, and that impact as I went down in that pothole with that rucksack on broke the third metatarsal in my left foot. And did I slow down? No, I completed the entire 12-mile ruck march in time to pass the ruck march. Realized once I was kind of fine until I took my boot off. And I took my boot off and my foot exploded and it was black. Realized, and yeah, I had to obviously wait till the next class. And then broke my tibia the exact same way, running with a rucksack on. Actually tore my meniscus exact same way, running downhill with a rucksack on. So 3 different injuries, all from that type of stuff. Because yeah, you slap a 55-pound rucksack on your back, you start running and you step in something, bad news. You're gonna get hurt.
So when you broke the big bone, right, the tibia, did that slow you down?
So I did that on. It didn't stop me from finishing that run, but that one was really bad. I got home from, I got back home and then I don't know, took a nap or something. Went to sleep. When I woke up the morning, went to like step out of bed and I couldn't walk at all. It was so bad. So
I want to make sure that we talk about this, Nate, because you're talking about, oh, I broke my leg, I finished the ruck, I broke my foot, I finished the ruck. Like, I just want people to understand how common that is. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I got 2 bangers. I'm gonna direct everybody over to go listen to my Army Ranger video with Jake, 3 hours long of nothing but fire. He had a broken leg for almost 3 months of training. Okay. And then he finally got pulled out, and then he went back and he broke his other leg and knew he couldn't say nothing and showed up in the Ranger bat with a broken leg. Go listen to the story. You don't believe me. This is not uncommon in our communities. Okay. I got another super winner, ended up at Dam Neck. Good dude, man. My boy. And early on, I thought he was like a fake tough guy, right? Like, he was always like a tough guy, but he had a law degree. So I'm like, bro, this don't add up. You ain't no tough guy. So he did something to his ankle. He broke his ankle, and he was limping all the time, right? I say, hey, man, you need to go to medical. Every day I'd ask him, you need to go to medical. I apologize to him. Hey, Brant, I'll say your name, Feldman. I apologize to you, bro. Every day I was just like, man, this fake tough guy right here, man. So I'd be like, hey, Brant, you need to go to medical, bro. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'll be fine. Like, he's running 4-mile timed runs with a club foot, passing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everywhere we go, he looked like he had a peg leg. Okay. And that went on for like 6 months. The end of, I think it happened right after Hell Week or right before Hell Week. And he peg-legged it out for the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and it slowly started to go away. And then, hell, by the end of training, it was fine. But when he got the x-rays, that shit was broke.
Yeah. So SFAS, broken feet, I think is now tons of guys finish. One of the dudes I went through my selection class with that got selected, Sergeant Foster, I believe his name was, had 2 broken feet. Both his feet were broken, like full on in casts after he got out of selection. But he got selected. The problem was his injuries were so bad, he got selected and then they immediately dropped him because his injuries were so bad. It was like, it was messed up to do, but I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, so
hang selection, on. Are you saying that they dropped him because they didn't think he'd be able to continue as a Green Beret?
Because it would take too long for him to recover.
So he had to go back through AFAS to get back.
I don't know. Pipeline. Yeah, I don't know if he did or not. But so the way it worked when I went through, man, if you were injured, if you couldn't recover in like probably 60 to 90 days, they just kicked you out.
Gotcha.
Sorry, we don't have time to, keep you around doing nothing. That's just the way it went. But yeah, you got to understand at SFAS, you carry that rucksack. Well, once land nav starts, but obviously first week PT tests, you've got rucksack, you got a ruck march or a long run every single day. Black Friday, where you just get, it's kind of like a Hell Week, but for one day, sort of. Log PT and all that shit. And then once you get into land navigation, those next 2 weeks, you have a 55-pound rucksack on your back the entire time, 14 hours a day. So you can imagine if your feet, guys go in there and their feet aren't conditioned, and I'm talking about your bones in your feet are calcified. And the bones in your shins are calcified. If they're not, like, you're gonna break your feet, and you're gonna break your legs.
And people need to understand, I tell people all the time, you better have your lower body hardened before you go to this type of training. And that means, like, why is volume big for me? Why am I 40 mile a guy week, right? Like I need my lower body to be hardened. I know as a kid, it took me almost 2 years before I stopped having knee pain and lower leg pain. I was running every day 3 miles. And it takes your body some time to densen up that lower body, because all that impact is microfracturing bones, and then it's healing and it's all getting denser. But we see a ton of stress fractures in SEAL training, a ton of them. And it's the same kind of deal, right? We're running a ton, and the guys come in with them baby soft feet and baby soft lower legs, and we're not doing half as much as you are, right? Like, we're in the pool probably 30-40% of the time. So we're talking about common injuries that guys push through and won on. Okay. Yeah. We're not talking about my dude Caldron, who got thrown out of a boat, flew 70 yards like a lawn dart and buried half his chest, buried this much of his head was in the sand berm, and his whole back was broke. He still graduated. Oh, here's one for you. I got another one. So shout out to my dude Lugo. Lugo's running a 4-mile time run, demo pit. I just talked to my dude yesterday. He was there with me. We were rocking, and we're sitting there, and I'm trying to finish this run up. I ran down in 14 minutes. I got to run back in. I had like 16 minutes to get back 2 miles. I thought I was doing good, and then it's soft sand. Demo pit road's a real bad run, and I hit the demon, and the demon jumped on my back and ripped my lungs out of my body. And I got to the finish line. I ran like a 30. I need a 32 minute. I ran like a 33:15. But as I'm running, this dude ran by me like jerking. And then he started leaning, and he was running sideways. And then he just ran smack dab into the ground. And the instructors were like, oh my God. And they ran over there. His eyes rolled back in his head. Yeah. They grabbed all of us. We just finished 4-mile time run and heart attacks. And we drug him, and they had this big ass bin of ice, and we threw him in the bin of ice, and they put the thermometer in his mouth, and that motherfucker said 105.3. And then it said 105.6. Then it said 105. I said, oh my, they're like, I don't remember. They were yelling. They pointed at me, pack his balls. I'm like, He had no clothes on, grabbed his junk, pulled his junk up, packed all this ice in his junk, like in between his legs. They were like, get his armpits. Like, dude, there was like 5 of us working on him, man. And then I remember, like, he was totally covered in ice. This was all you saw when his eyes rolled back in his head. And then, you know, like you started seeing it got to 106, 106.1, and then it started coming back down. And then they were like, all right, get out of here. And I was like, well, damn, we don't get to see what happens. And they're like, get out of here. I'm like, all right, you know, we left. I got my fail. Obviously, I went to the beach, got beat, but he was taking thermogens. So back in the day, they had these pills called thermogens. They raise your body temperature and let you run fast as shit. But in that San Diego has some magic sun that causes heat stroke. And so we get a lot of, you know, I had a dude in my class that had heat stroke and he disappeared for half a day. We were pissed. We wanted to throw him out of training. Nobody liked him. Nobody liked him in my class, but he was kind of the pet. And they brought him back later on that day. He had avoided heat stroke for the 3rd time because they were going to kick him out of training.
So that's a good one I didn't even think about, because when we talk about the Q course, it's in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And if you have been in the Southeast in the summer, in August, guess what? Training don't stop. It just starts earlier. So your ruck march starts at 4 a.m., even though it's 87 degrees and 110% humidity out that time. If you're not conditioned to that, which you have to get conditioned to that, the big problem for that is guys that like come from Alaska, come from some of these other places, and they fly straight and start the Q course in the summer. Woo! Did I tell you the story about my teammate that got rhabdo on a run and ended up drop kicking an EMT in the chest out of a
yeah.
ambulance?
You told me that story. Yeah.
That's another one.
I've had heat stroke twice. I've had heat stroke twice now, bro. Both times I turned into the fucking devil. So I got heat stroke in Cuba playing basketball in the middle of the sun. Hadn't eaten in 2 days because we didn't have no money and all the ATMs were empty on money. This is 1992. I passed out, was running around with the ball like football. I'm a pirate. Arr! All the midshipmen, like I was playing with some dudes, man, ended up in the hospital. And then the last time I was running, trying to lose weight to do good on the PST. I tried to lose like 20 pounds. I was working out like 7 hours a day. Tuesday morning, the monster hit me on an easy 5-mile run. And I woke up like 6 hours later in the hospital. And they were like, yo, you was tripping. I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. So I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
We got Mystic Mac 96 gifted 20 memberships. Ooh. I've never had anybody gift memberships before. But
I got like 65 memberships now, and people have been gifting.
Cool.
Them.
Thank you guys. Thank you,
Mystic
Mac, and everybody in the chat that just became a member. That's pretty cool. Appreciate that. So for me, I did a lot of heat acclimation on purpose. So I would run outside on my own. I did a lot of PT on my own outside of the PT just because I wanted to be a top 10% guy. That was, it is what it is. And so I would, during the summers, after a training day, this is when we weren't out at Camp McCall, right? We're just like waiting for training and doing PT. I would always go out at the hottest part of the day, usually 4 or 5 p.m. And I would just do runs, 2, 3, 4 or 5 mile runs every other day. And not a fast pace, right? But just literally to acclimate dealing with that heat. Even then, I don't remember what phase we were in. We were later in the course. It was an August day. We were doing a 5-mile run test. And there's what's called the tank trail out at Fort Bragg, which is all sand. And so you know how that is, running a 5-miler in sand, in the heat. Horrible. And the problem
every
with
run we do in Buds is in the sand, Nate.
yeah.
12 mile, 9 mile, 15 mile. Every run we do, there ain't a single run at Buds that's not in the sand until you get to the island and you got to run the airport. You got to run.
Well, not for us, right? So for us, it's like we're not used to it. But the way this is set up is like the first mile and a half is through sand, and then you hit hardball road. But this hardball road is like downhill like this for like a mile, right?
Okay.
So when you're on the first 2.5 miles, and the turnaround point's at the bottom of this hill at the 2.5 mile mark. Dude, that first 2.5, you were flying, dude, running downhill, running down that steep grade. You're doing like 5-minute miles down that hill, right?
Ooh.
But it's
and
like
you got a
90
ruck
plus.
on, right? Ruck or not?
No. This was just a regular 5-mile run test.
Okay.
But anyway, it's like 90 degrees out. We started way too late. And I remember turning around and coming back up that hill in that weather. I got to the top of that hill. I thought I was going to die. And I was pretty, I was never the number one guy, but I was usually in top 15% of runners. And I remember how bad I was hurting, and I ended up finishing, pretty ahead of time, like a 37-minute 5-mile, but that was super slow for me at the time.
Okay.
And so I just start watching guys coming in behind me, or some of the little bit slower runners who are doing, usually doing a 35, 36, and they're busting time, dude. It's like 41 minutes, 43 minutes, 45 minutes. And like the last 10 dudes, and before that, I get to that. When I finish, dude, I thought it was the only time where I felt like it was actually a heat casualty. I had like, I was just dumping water on myself. I could not get cool. Felt like I was going to pass out. You know that feeling. And then I'm watching all these guys come across the finish line and just like unconscious as soon as somehow like guys can like manage to like get to that point, and as soon as they stop, they're just unconscious, just cadre freaking out, screaming. There's coolers everywhere, the blankets are coming out, and there's just each dude that comes across is just douche. We ended up having like 10 or 15 heat casualties. And I remember I've been like sitting on the ground the whole time watching this for 10 minutes now. And I remember when they're like released us, I go to stand up, and both of my calves, from my Achilles all the way up to like my hamstrings, I couldn't walk without all of them cramping all the way tight. And so I'm like waddling half a mile back to my car. I ended up sitting like next to the tire of my car, and some random lady like saw me and came over and gave me a Gatorade. But dude, I probably was legitimate a heat casualty, but everybody was that day. And that was just kind of like, all right, hope you were in good enough shape to deal with like this 5-mile in a 90-degree weather, like in 110% humidity. Because if you're not, you're going down or you're going to fail. And if the guys who didn't pass, they didn't give a shit. They was like, you didn't pass. So you get to make it up, and if you fail again, you're out of the course. It's just like,
so for us, I think it's interesting because we have the 58-degree water right there, and that's like, so first four mile time run. I show up from October, rainy, dreary Virginia Beach, right? I step into San Diego, first time run, like 95 degrees. I get heat stroke. I'm like a quarter mile from the finish line. I run a 38-minute 5-mile, 38:50, 4-mile. I fail, and the instructors were like, God, they're yelling at me. I made a right turn, ran into the ocean. I was out there for like 30 minutes, wouldn't come in. They were like, get out here. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, bro. I sat out there until I cooled down because I knew that would have been my third heat stroke. And I was just like, man, that was my first day, like day 2, first run, bad. But yeah, I think heat stroke, heat casualties. I tell all my guys that are going out to SOAS. SOAS happens in June, July, and August in San Diego, which is a SEAL officer selection. I send them all out there 2 weeks early. Unless they living in Arizona, New Mexico, or Texas, I send them out there 2 weeks early. They all bitch about it. And then the first thing they say is like, oh my God, I went for a run today. Like I had some kids from Iowa and I had a kid from Maine, and they were like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah. So heat caps are bad.
One sec, Jake. Randy, I see you. About the hats, brother. I put out a message on Instagram. I didn't know about hidden messages, so I didn't see your messages. I got 2 of the hats out. You got to message me again on Instagram, brother. I'll get it to you.
So calm Nate, down. You got somebody. Listen, so Nate, real quick, man.
Calm down.
My live stream
Message me on Instagram again, Randy. Now that I know where the messages are going. Sorry, Jake.
No, you're good, brother. I'm sorry. I was interrupting you. My bad.
Nope,
hey,
you're good.
I'm in my thing. I got like 150 people in my live stream, but my live stream on my phone shows none. So it's interesting. But anyway, we're killing it. All right.
All right. Hold on. All right. Mystic Mac has donated 40 more memberships, brother.
Hey, Mr. Mac, come over on my channel and bang out some memberships, bro. I've been dropping a lot more content in the membership.
But yeah, hey, Randy, if you're still in here, you might not have seen my Instagram message I put out. I couldn't see any of your guys' messages because Instagram was putting them in a hidden section. So message me over there again, and we'll get it to you. All right.
It's hard being a caveman, Nate.
I know.
Hard being a caveman.
All right, we're back.
All right. So any other like I'm trying to think like bone fractures I've seen. I'm just gonna tell you the toughness you see in the SEAL teams, like it's real. Broken bones, broken lower extremities. You know, guys are gonna continue. Broken fingers all the time. All the time, broken fingers.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think it's important for a lot of people to realize, and both my broken bones were stress fractures that then became fractures. Why? Because I didn't stop training. And I was like, oh, I just think it's like a ligament problem, or, you know, like, oh, I'll be fine. And we continue to train through these. And like, I'll tell you guys this, if you have any type of overuse injury or stress fracture, it does not get better as you continue training. You will 100%, there's only this way to go with the stress fracture. The only way you can fix that bad boy is let it basically recover and calcify over. The good thing, though, is I will say after I had those stress fracture issues early in my career, and then my feet and my ankles and everything started to calcify, I never had another bone issue for my entire 10 plus year career in Army Special Forces, doing like way more intense stuff than I was at that time. But once you develop that sort of, again, like me and Jake talked about, that actually develop like the calcification of your actual bones in your lower extremities, you actually then won't get overuse injuries, which is kind of like why guys can do 40, 50, 100 miles a week and have no problems. But you got to train up to it. You can't just run out there and start doing 40 miles a week and expect to not have fractured feet and tibias. It's going to happen to anybody.
Yeah, the other one that we have a lot of is shoulders. So like the O-cores, boats, shoulders, cats tweak a shoulder, tear a shoulder. Like they're gonna keep their mouth shut, bro. Like we're gonna try to train through that. We're gonna keep going. You know, I know a couple dudes that come out of training and they, you know, talking about going under the knife. You know, I'm just gonna say this: your shoulders, your knees, your ankles, and for whatever reason, your elbows get destroyed in SEAL training and in like being a SEAL. Like I would say probably 90% of the people come out with shoulder injuries. The hips are another one, but we don't carry a ton of weight a lot. Like we sometimes, but the hips, but really them knees, elbows, shoulders get trashed. So, all right, quick 30 minutes on
we got some shit talkers in the chat saying I'm so obsessed with my viewers. First of all, yeah, I'm watching what my viewers say. That's the entire point of me and Jake doing this live is so we can discuss this with you. So you're fucking dumb as shit. Second of all, I'm not staring at the screen. I'm watching Jake because Jake is on my computer in front of me and my camera is a little bit above it. So relax, dipshits.
So I got to do the same thing. Like if I want to look at the camera, I got to look at the camera, but then I see a little bit of Nate. It's a lot easier to talk to Nate. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to fix that, Nate. Right in front of me, I'm going to put a TV on the wall, and then I'm going to HDMI this to that.
That's smart. Yeah, I should do that.
So then the camera sits in the middle of the TV. I thought about, listen, man, let me tell y'all something. You guys wanted a commercially produced podcast. This ain't it, bro. Like
yeah, if you haven't figured that out by
now. This is two Tacoma, Washington boys jamming out on some fucking. Hey, let me tell y'all something. You lucky that Jamerson got a hold of us and beat us about the head and neck so that we both got these Shure 7Bs so you actually hear us. And we got these EV10 cameras. And we got the Elgato Cam Link. Listen, man, we got it plugged in, but that don't mean we qualified to use any of it. We doing it the right way. I want to set expectations right here. We are just happy that the shit records and it goes out to YouTube so you can listen to it. That's where we at, okay? That's where we at.
All right, yeah. Nate. So do we want to talk you want to talk about like injuries as you get into the job? Because I mean, that gets ugly.
I wanted to talk about training injuries more so because like I think once you take that next step, like, you know, like Mike Day got shot 29 times and walked to the helo on extract. Okay. Like I don't think that helps the young people getting ready to go because like once you get to the teams, like shit, I mean, I've seen a couple dudes that got hung up in trees and tore up. right? Like completely broke. On my ship, my 56-year-old warrant officer got his arm in the door and it severed his, well, it didn't sever his arm, but it broke these two bones. And he was carrying his forearm like this, and the rest of his arm was hanging down from where he had a hold of his like forearm like this. I said, God damn. He said, it got caught in the hatch. Got caught in the hatch. I'm like, come on, Warren. Let's. He was old dude, man. Didn't have no teeth. Like, so we got him to. Bosa mate too. You know, they ain't the brightest cats, but he got flown off the ship, man. And I never saw him again. So
what? And I mean, at that point, God, I mean, so many guys like myself, you just keep doing the job. I mean, even after I had the major injuries to my shoulder, I still stayed on a team for another year after that before getting them fixed, and then had to have both of them reconstructed at that point. But yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if we want to jump into myths to carry out the second half of the day, real quick, I'm going to hit a super chat from Plight Designs. What's up, brother? Always great to have you here. What would be the most interesting fictional fight? World War II fight with GWAT era tech and tactics, or World War I with World War II era tech and tactics? Well, I'll tell you this: World War II fight, or you have sort of a World War I fight with GWAT era tech in Ukraine and Russia right now. That is a trench warfare, tank battle war with modern technology. So, as for interesting, I mean, that's like the last thing I would want to be in. World War I style trench warfare? No, dog. You guys can keep that.
You know, Nate, you know the scariest thing about that stuff in my mind, if you got nicked in a trench, you got a little abrasion on your shoulder, you're probably gonna die, right? Like go back to Civil War. If you got shot in the Civil War anywhere in your body, you were dead, right? Like you were dead because the infection, there was no infection control, there was none of that. Now, I think that's one of the beauties of the GWAT. Now it's one of the kind of we saving a lot of dudes that wouldn't have been saved in the past, and now they're having to live with the trauma of it. But you know, I just think that's the thing. When you go back to World War II, man, you getting gassed. You know, people were dying of swamp foot. You know, bacterial meningitis, bacterial infections. Like, you getting killed from everything back then. So, they just brought in the machine gun. The machine gun. So.
Yeah, no thanks. That war, I'm content that I didn't have to fight that war. That's a nasty one. All right, let's jump into myths. Myths of training, or I mean, really, if you want to do myths of special forces in general. Kind of interesting because I was working on a special forces fact versus fiction video for next week. And there's a lot of both. What are some of the most common myths for SEAL training? If you want to go first, or I can jump in first. Your call.
It doesn't matter. You can ask. You be the narrator on this one. All right. So
go ahead.
One of the biggest myths, Nate, is this 5-minute breath hold. Okay. So anywhere from forever to 5 minutes. All right.
Yeah.
I probably had the largest lungs in my class, and I can hold my breath for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Now, that was static. That wasn't doing nothing in the pool. That was just like static, sitting there, timing myself on my watch. I tell everybody I was out of my mind. I didn't know how dangerous this was, but I lived in Hampton for a little bit. And so I had to go across the Hampton Bay Bridge Tunnel in Virginia Beach. I could hold my breath from the first light pole all the way through the tunnel to the third light pole. I was trying to make it to the fourth light pole, but I would start getting a little dizzy. I was like, okay. Now I know as a grown-up, like, you're playing with fire because the lights go out, you die. Okay, so that's a huge myth, but it's also something that helps you out immensely if you can hold your breath more than 2 minutes when you get to training. We have a technique. I'll throw this technique out there. We call it fake breathing. So you breathe a little bit and they think you exhaled, and then you stop breathing, but you still have at least 3/4 of your lungs full of air. Well, they come down and mess with you. You still got a bunch of air in your lungs, so you can hold your breath a lot longer. Because I'm going to tell you this, I don't care who you are. You let all the air out your lungs underwater at 9 feet, you are not holding your breath more than about 15 seconds. So, but yeah, that's a huge one. This whole, hold my breath for 6 minutes. Now, there's guys out there that can hold their breath for 6 minutes, okay? But I'm telling you, it ain't no thing in the Navy SEALs be able to hold your breath for more than like probably 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think when I was doing train ups for pre-dive, the best I ever got, like sitting, and this was like sitting in a love seat. This wasn't even like underwater. Underwater mentally, for whatever reason, it like automatically takes away a little bit of that. But I think I got like barely over 3 minutes as my best, just like sitting in a love seat, completely relaxed. So, and like that's, if you can hold your breath for 3 minutes, you can do literally anything in military underwater training. Like that's plenty of time.
Correct.
But so
Correct.
I'll jump into one, and this was, I don't know where this came from, and we're going to talk about SERE school. Um, so that's our prisoner of war school. For those of you who don't know, um, for whatever reason, there's the rumors going around that they break your fingers and they'll break your fingers at SERE school as part of the torture.
Oh
Super
yeah.
common, super common myth from like the civilians that hear about it, but also in the military too. We used to always hear that, like going through basic training, that they could potentially do that to you. um, no, that like, for one, why are they going to break the bones of dudes that are spending millions of dollars training like for no reason? Doesn't make any sense. But two, that that training, like all training, as Jake knows, is so sort of like strict, organized. Everything you do is highly monitored. There's medics everywhere. They have like, I mean, they'll beat the shit out of you, right? And like there's that type of stuff, but everything's done in an incredibly safe way. And so yeah, that's another big myth of ours is Army prisoner of war school, that they break your bones. So those of you who are going to go to SEER school, you can rest assured they might put you in a 38-degree pond of water when it's February, right? And get you near hypothermia and pull you out and heat you up. But yeah, they're not going to do any permanent damage to your body on purpose
Do,
anywhere in the course.
do you get slapped at SEER school?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm gonna put this in there about SEER school because
Oh
this
yeah.
was hilarious. So we're in SEALs when we go to SEER school. So I've been in the SEAL team. I don't know how long. I've been there a while, and they were like, "Hey, you got to go to SEER school." Okay, cool. They're like, "Hey, you're gonna take 9 guys with you." Okay, cool. So they bring all 9 of us into this room and they read us the riot act. I I know you can take over SEER school. I know you can beat everybody up. If you don't graduate from SEER school, we're going to put you in probation and you're going to be in trouble. Here is why we're having this like after actions debrief, pre-brief to go to SEER school. A SEAL platoon went up there and took over and beat the instructor senseless for 3 days. Okay. That is not the purpose of this training. Okay.
Right.
So I remember now, no one told us what to expect. No one told us what we're getting into. So I didn't even, dog, like when you get to Sears, I don't know how it is in Green Berets. Like once you become a Green Beret, you're not like, there's nothing you're going to. You're like, oh God, you're just like, oh, I gotta go to Sears school. Okay, fuck. The pilots are flying us up on a G-20. Like we're flying on commercial air basically with, okay, cool. Showed up, put our bags on. 8 of us got in civilian clothes. Everybody looking at us like, oh, I don't know, whatever. And then we got there, and I just remember they're like, "Hey, man, in the rules, they're like they can slap you." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, really? Oh, okay." So we got there. I remember dudes was getting slapped. They started crying and shit. You're in the little cell and shit. I would go to sleep. I'm like, I'm sleeping. They sleep. If you fell asleep, they slap you, right? So like, but like that mental anguish of SEER school. I mean, I saw a bunch of dudes crying because they had the women stripped down and no clothes, right? I was like, oh, this is
Oh
the
yeah.
best shit in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, naked women in SEER school. I'm like, shit, like let's go. So
They keep, so we do, part of our SEER school in the Army is that all Army special operations units go to the same SEER school together. So civil
okay,
affairs, psyops, 160th, us, pilots, like we all go to the same SEER school usually. And we have women in our classes, but they always separate us if they're gonna, because you spend a lot of, like Jake said, you spend a lot of time naked at SEER school, for those of you who didn't
oh,
know.
so they separate you guys.
When we're naked, right?
Okay, no,
Um,
no, 98, 98.
oh yeah,
Motherfuckers
things
was
have
just standing
changed.
there. Now they didn't. The women had on bras and panties, but they were these little sheer white panties. And
Yeah.
I remember like, oh, she got a big furry bush. I'm like,
Oh
oh
my
man, like it
gosh.
was just crazy, bro. Hey, real quick, I got a couple lives before we go to the next one. Can an experienced Coast Guard rescue diver successfully complete buds, in your opinion? A rescue diver, here's what I'm going to say. Obviously, you guys kick butt in the Coast Guard, but there's a big difference between Coast Guard rescue diver and a Navy SEAL because you got to be able to run. The other big difference is it's 6.5 months of training. Really, it's 2 years of training. So there's a lot of other aspects other than being able to swim to make you successful, Danny. Hey, shout out to Mystic. Mystic Mac came over to my page and gifted 20 memberships. I love you. And then Jason F. Okay. Thank you for all you do, man. I wish I had a mentor like you when I was finishing high school or college. Hey, Jason, man, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. This is why I do it. I do it because I didn't have the mentorship when I was in the SEAL teams. And I felt like that was the reason I didn't have this banging ass career in the SEAL teams. Because if I had the mentorship like I give to my kids now, we've thwarted 3 or 4 major problems in the Navy just from being able to say, hey, man, let's talk about this, okay? And not getting in your own head. So, Jason, I appreciate that $20. I'm doing it because I don't want anybody to have the pain that I had from no mentorship in the SEAL teams.
Man, yeah. I was fortunate to get to my first ODA that the leaders on that team were very mentorship based approach. Thank God, because at that time, not many teams were like that, and not many dudes were like that. Typically, it was like you showed up and it was like sink or swim. We're not going to tell you what to do. Fucking figure it out. And in some ways, that's okay, right? But in other ways, like if you really want to develop a young warfighter, maybe pump a bunch of knowledge into his brain because you came before him and you've done it. So that's the approach I took forward as well, much like I'm sure you have, Jake, is that because that progressed my skills and my knowledge and everything so fast compared to my other peers at my same rank because I had that mentorship that it's just a massive advantage. And if you don't have it, it's going to be a struggle the entire way for you. I mean, it's just the way it is.
And I say this, Nate, a lot of guys can overcome it, but the military is ripe with problems. Okay. And so whether that's a personal conflict between you or somebody else, whether you mess up, man, like we all mess up, like no one's perfect. So you mess something up in the SEAL teams, right? And like if you don't have mentorship, you can't overcome it because everybody's gonna hammer you, right? Like in my case, I got maybe the worst officer in the history of the SEAL teams. Okay. He had been fired a bunch, just a bunch of problems. And I kept trying to make myself better and fix the problem. I wasn't the problem, bro. Like he was the problem, you know? And so if someone like me, like I've had it happen 3 times now, same exact situation, got a bad leader, boom, boom, boom. All right, here's what we're going to do. Boom, boom, boom. Hey man, go in the Master Chief, tell him you want a different platoon. Okay. Like don't fight it, right? Like if you don't fit in the platoon, you don't fit in the group of guys, like don't fight it. Like, look, I'm good. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna go to another platoon. You know, the thing that's crazy is one of my big dudes, Travis Lively, had the exact same thing happen to him because he was on Bud's Class 234. And then your boy Rourke Denver, shout out to Rourke, came back and shot the Navy SEAL movie. Put Travis out of the SEAL teams because he was on TV. And then Rourke Denver came back and shot whatever it was, Men in Action or whatever that thing was, the Navy SEAL movie, and tried to be a Hollywood movie star. Rourke, hey, man, shout out to you for being an awesome dude, man. You cost the SEAL teams one of the best, but that's all right. Travis is killing it on the outside world. All right, back to myths and realities. I got another $10 super chat. What were the funniest things you both saw at SERE school? That's a good one, man. We talked a little bit about SERE school. Nate, go ahead. What's the funniest thing you saw at SERE school?
Oh, I was going to tell you, this was part of what I was getting into with females and males being separated. Okay. So there's a lot of the best part about SERE school, man. If you go into it with the right mindset and not go in there like everything's so serious and you're going to like cry every time you get hit and things like that, everything is actually funny if you kind of understand it from the lens of like, this is training. Now it's important to learn. But so, like I mentioned, we would be completely separated from the females when we did what's called the sawdust pit. We have a sawdust pit where they throw you in, you always get naked, you start rolling around, and they spray you with hoses, right? Like, so they separate the females for that. So I remember we're getting screamed at. We're in the pit. We're all naked. There's 50 or 60 dudes in there. We're all naked. We're all barrel rolling back and forth, right? Biggest thing is to go slow because if some dude tries to roll over the top of you, which some guys will do, and there it gets pretty weird pretty fast. But so I remember we're like rolling around, we're getting sprayed, and like this fucking sucks. And I just hear one of the instructors yell, "Oh, fuck." And like the water stops spraying on us, the directions, because they'll be like, roll, left, right, whatever. There's no more instructions. And I know all of us were like, what the hell's going on? And you can hear like murmuring and panic. And I remember like getting in and looking over, and this poor girl who had a very short haircut and, did not necessarily look so much female. Um, from first glance, the instructors did not realize that they hadn't separated her with the other females, and she was just standing there on the side of the sawdust pit, just staring at just 50 naked dudes rolling around in her bra and underwear. By the time the instructor looked over and realized, and you just see them rush over and like, oh fuck, get her in the room, as they like take her and like put her in the room with the other girls as fast as possible, because obviously that poor girl is just looking at 50 naked dudes rolling around in snow and sawdust on top of each other. I can only imagine what it looked like from her perspective, right? But from our perspective, yeah, that was a pretty funny one.
All right, here's my funny SERE story, and this one is just one of them funny ones. Okay, so SERE school is not some prison; it's literally cement squares that you're in, and you got a little can, and the door lock is like a bolt or something like that. Okay, so I have a dude that I love. My boy Dale Wooden is a fucking savage. Okay, he is probably the most functionally smart person I know. Just genius level, figure shit out, smart dude. So it's in the middle of the night, you sleeping, just waiting to get slapped. Because when you fall asleep at SERE school, they slap you awake. So I'm sleeping. Someone's pushing me. Hey man. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, we're getting out of here, man. We're breaking out. I'm like, Dale, we're not allowed to break out. He's like, fuck that shit. They've been slapping this shit out of me, man. So I'm like, all right, let's go. Fuck it. So we're outside in the snow in Maine in like January. It's freezing. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are we gonna go, Dale? He's like, I don't know. Like, I think we should probably go back inside because we're gonna get kicked out of training and we're gonna get in a lot of trouble. He's like, but we're and he knows I'm right? But he's fucking running computations in his supercomputer, and he's like, I'm not breaking back in, man. I'm not getting back in my cell. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's get back in the building so that at least we can fucking. So we climb on top of the cells. We're laying up there, right? And I remember we were up there probably 30 minutes. It was really uncomfortable because it was kind of tight between the ceiling. And I was like, damn, let's just get back in the cells, man. I was trying to convince him, right? He's like, yeah, you're right, man. We should probably just get back in there, man. And I was like, yeah, let's just get back in the cells. So we got back in, right? I'm like, hey, can you lock me in? He's like, yeah, I can. I said, well, hey, don't do that. Leave mine open too, because if they catch you with yours unlocked, I was like, how'd you get it open? He's like, oh man, I just reached my finger through the little crack and I was able to get down. I was like, okay, cool. So we get back in our cells, right? And so we're sitting in there. Not 5 minutes later, I hear one of the instructors say, hey, Joe, come here. He's right in front of my son. He's like, hey man, look at this, Joe. And they're like, you hear him talking. Now they're whispering, right? My door opens up. They kick my door and they run in there, slapping the shit out of me. Did you leave? Did you leave? I'm like, I ain't going nowhere, bro. Been right here. I don't know what you're talking about. And then I heard like 2 seconds later, they're down at Dale's cell because he couldn't put the bolt back in the little catch thing. And bruh, I just remember like they came back to me. We know you got out. We know. I'm like, I didn't get out. I've been here all night. I don't know what to tell you. Bruh, we got back. We got on the plane to come home. All the dudes were in the same, like they put all the SEALs in the little same area. They were all like, did you guys break out? I'm like, look, man, Dale got us out. We were sitting outside for about 10 minutes. Then we broke back in. They were like, oh my God, what were you doing? We're all going to get kicked out of train. Like, then they got mad. And I was like, bruh, like, I was just like, man. But that was like, for me, I was just crying because we're in prisoner of war camp and we got to break back in so we don't get in trouble. So.
Yeah, I mean they like I know instructors, as long as you're smart about it and you don't like disappear, like they appreciate the ingenuity. You're not going to get in trouble. They'll like fuck you up a little bit for it, but like if you figured out how to break out of your cell and then you got back in, whatever, right? Like
Oh
just
yeah,
shows
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit of an ingenuity that you were able to do it.
But
Real
yeah,
quick, got some super chats.
go ahead, man.
Yeah, we got from Plight Designs again. $5. Thank you, brother. Heard a story of scout snipers hiding so well that the instructors had to come out with the blowhorns, asking them to come out and continue training. Yeah, so I mean, you get briefed. Again, it's all set up. Like this is all set up and organized, and you're like they know exactly where you're supposed to be when you're going to get there. So they'll let you know, like if you decide to not show up to your rally point or whatever, like you're going to fail. So because it's not a game out there, right? And also, um, there's no instructors with you, and you're just in the middle of the forest in North Carolina, like running around doing crazy shit. So from a safety standpoint, like they can't lose dudes. And we've had some crazy stuff happen. We had not my class, but it was part of the safety brief of my class. Is a prior class had basically killed some lady's dog and cooked it and ate it. Right, like they yeah, I mean, like survival, right? Like, so that they all got dropped for that, obviously. Because you're like, again, you're like going through, rural areas, but also like people's property and stuff like that, that like they know and like they allow you to do it. But like, yeah, that was a big whoopsie for
Are you
other myths. Yeah, go ahead.
are you that hungry, Nate? You're
Oh
not
yeah,
that
dude.
hungry, are you? Oh, you are that
Oh yeah.
hungry. You're
So
that
the way
hungry to
they,
kill somebody's dog and eat it.
I mean, like that's
No,
just
no,
dumb.
no.
No,
If you're that
no,
hungry,
but
no, no, no. Listen, listen. I'm gonna tell you right now. I've ate beaver, raccoon,
oh, I mean,
possum. Like killing something and eating it ain't a problem. I just like you're that hungry that you're like
yeah,
everything is edible.
yeah, I ate like half rotten bear meat because we were there in my class was there in 1 second, I lost something. Was there in February. There was no like foraging for food. It was fucking a blizzard had come in. There's no animals out. There's no plants to eat. There's no nothing. And the way they do it is you stop eating well before you like go into the colex, like 2 or 3 days before, while you're still like at the camp and still learning things.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
by the time you're in like the end, I think it's like 7, 8, 9 days without really eating anything. Depending on the time of year, like summer, you can find all kinds of stuff. But for us, like the instructor brought us like one big slab of like half rotten bear meat, like not rotten to the point where it wasn't edible, but you could boil it and eat it. And like,
Yeah, yeah.
dude, I remember that was like the best tasting thing I'd ever had. So yeah, you're that hungry to where you'll eat anything.
And
But
I want to throw this in since we're talking a little bit about SERE school. We kind of got off the myths. Let me tell you
yeah,
something.
yeah,
We're fire breathing dragons, and we're in there with a bunch of pilots. And I'm
yeah.
just gonna say this: the pilots and like Navy SERE school, like there's 8 savages in there, and then there's I don't know 50 other people in there that are just mad. They're there, like a bunch of guys that fly around on P3s and crazy. I got some super chats.
Yeah, I got a
I
couple too
trained
once
with
you're done.
I trained with the Marine Corps on the beach of Mogadishu before the Rangers and Deltas received them. Great guys. Thank you, Mystic Mac. Thank you for everything, brother. T Mac, my dude from Naps. What's up? Naval Academy Prep School, class of 90. My guy has not changed. Funniest, man. I was with him in third. I was with third Anglica USMC. What do you consider the most mentally taxing event of your military career? So here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay.
Mentally taxing.
Mentally taxing, without a doubt, not even close. Wrestling at the Naval Academy for the 9 months that I wrestled my junior year. It doesn't compare. Every day was 4 workouts. Every day was a street fight. I had to come down from 245 football weight to 160. Well, I wrestled 167. I was normally about 178, 180. And it was a nightmare to make weight. It was a nightmare to go to class. It was a nightmare to like have to sit at a table and watch everybody eat and not be able to eat. Like the most mentally taxing thing in the world was wrestling in Naval Academy, period. Bar none, not even close.
I'm trying to think most mentally like an event, a class, a school. Um, like it's hard to pick one. I mean, obviously, like everything in the Q course is designed to be cognitively overloading, is designed to be incredibly stressful. I think one of like the most mentally taxing things actually can be when on a military free fall team you do what's called a level 1, which is usually like a 3-week train up to get qualified to like basically meet the MTOD standards for your ODA. And people think skydiving, oh, that's not hard, but the way you do it, you're doing like full wall lockers every jump, 3-4 jumps a day, like, and you're packing all your parachutes. And I'll tell you, by the end of that, like 2 weeks, man, like you are so mentally and physically fried from doing that over and over and over and over again, because you guys are free fall, right? Aren't all SEALs free fall? Were you free fall
They are
qualified back
now.
then?
I'm free fall now. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you, bro. I understand.
Yeah, so like doing a full wall locker jump at night, and that's what we're doing, a ton of them at night too, right? So like your sleep schedule's all fucked. Yeah.
What's the standard, Nate? What's the standard? Like, you got to put all 12 guys within what range? Like, how big is the LZ?
Well, yeah, so typically the Colex, we usually will end in like, you're trying to do like 18,000 foot, usually like maybe 10 to 15 mile offsets, and usually like, I don't know, within, what was our, I think it's like 50 meters by 50 meters, maybe. It's decent, or maybe 100 meters by 50 meters. It's pretty decent size, but when you're jumping from 15 miles away, like there's a lot of room for error, keeping your entire team together, all those types of things. So that's kind of like how what's considered like a final, and it's full wall locker, right? Like you have to do it, rucksack, weapon, nighttime, nods, oxygen, like the whole shebang. So yeah, that's a pretty brutal train up when it comes to like something actually like mentally challenged, which like single jumps aren't that much, but like when you do what is that? We do like almost 50 jumps in like 2 weeks. Like, oof.
It takes the fun out of it real quick. Like, I tell everybody, like, you start jumping gear and all this other stuff,
Yeah,
like,
not fun.
and then you know, like, obviously civilians don't even jump at night for the most part, right? Like, there's no night jumps. And I'm like, look, man, I'm gonna tell you, I've jumped a couple times static line and not seen anything the whole jump until I hit the ground. Like,
Yep.
no moon, no illumination, nothing. Just dig in, like, oh God, the ground's here, right? And like literally being feet and knees in the position for like the last 20 seconds of the fall, because you can't see anything. So the nighttime full equipment just adds a whole nother game to it. And it's not fun. It's not fun to walk on the plane full equipment. It's not fun to get JPMI'd in full equipment. You know, I know the Army, you know, you guys will get jocked up an hour or two before the jump. You know, we're you know, sitting there jocked up, fully banged up on the runway. You know, get your last JPMI, get on the plane, get another one, and then, you know, hook up and jump a static line. Like, yeah, it sucks. Like, and the other part of it is dangerous.
Oh yeah.
We all know, like, you know, people, I know people that have died doing it. So like, everybody's like, oh, you get to parachute all day. I'm like, look, bro, just like, it's like saying I get to go diving all night. Like, oh yeah, it's great. I don't see anything. I got full gear and I'm swimming like 13,000 meters a fucking night. Or, you know, you're doing 13,000 meter dive in a day and a 13,000 meter dive at night. Like, yeah, all the fun sucked out of it.
And we would always have, dude, at least 2-3 guys hurt on the team by the end of that 3 weeks. Not like necessarily like major surgery hurt, but like, I mean, usually pretty fucked up, like banged up backs, hips, tailbones, broken wrists. Like, because again, like at nighttime, flaring, right? When do I flare my parachute? Well, if there's no illume and it's pitch black, the nods aren't that great, and your depth perception looking down with nods and parachute is horrible. Like, actually, the feet, it could be 100 feet below you, it could be 10 feet below you. It's really hard to tell where that ground actually is. All right, real quick, couple super chats. From Cedric, $5 says, been watching Jake for years on YouTube. Love that dude. Great combo with Valhalla. Y'all don't have to read this one. Well, I did. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate it. Kind words. I had another one here. White Wolf Tactical, $2. No message. Appreciate you. Fred Hill, $2. Getting hosed down. Yeah, that's a SERE School comment right there. I missed one. K-Love, $5. Jake, what was the conspiracy theory you mentioned in the War Room podcast? The one that had Nate sweating. Conspiracy
Nate.
theory. Oh, that one. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that one. Listen, folks, let me tell you. Here's what I want to preface this with.
Jesus.
This is end of the world conspiracy theory. We can't talk about it. No, we're not going to give you no hints. Just know when it finally comes out, I still am not going to say nothing other than I told you a long time ago I knew about it, and that's about as good as it's going to get, folks. Like, it's get people thrown out of the country bad. Like, it's really bad. So
yeah,
we're not going to talk about it. Let it go. I got a couple super chats. Nate, my man Mesh, Marine Corps officer, killing it. Convo, thanks for the $9.99. Mystic Mac, $20. Jake, I'm a Green Beret all the way. No hard feelings. You're one of the good ones. Appreciate what you do, man. Thank you, Mystic Mac. I just want to let you know I'm not down on the Green Berets because I got about 15 of them. So my big time dude got through the first part that he got recycled for last time. We're fired up for him. We got 2-3 dudes in training right now. I got about 9 dudes in OCS. So, Mystic Mac, I'm here to help everybody, bro. Just make sure that you get what you need to do to be successful where you want to go.
All right, Randy, finally found your message. I got you, brother.
Randy's killing you. He's killing you,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, no, I got it. I found it. I'm telling you, dude, on Instagram, these there's so many different places your messages can go. You can go to hidden messages. There's apparently a business message section. So yeah, I
just
got you,
was in
brother.
I was in
found
my general section today and found like 5 messages from 2023. I replied to them today and apologized that I was 2 years late from March of 23. But I mean, look, man, like we said, me and Nate, like when you start seeing a little hot person come in the screen and be like, "Hey, Jake, we've got something to do." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Till we get handlers, bro, there ain't no chance we're gonna figure it all out. Ain't no chance, man.
I've got my wife is leaving her job and taking over a bunch of the business here in about 3 weeks. So thank God she'll take over that because I don't know what I'm doing. But appreciate it, everybody. All right, quick couple more myths. Any more myths? I would say I wanted to talk about one that I think probably I don't know maybe if it's in the SEAL teams too, but I think the myths of that like every SF dude that makes it through training is like this Greek Adonis, absolute athletic specimen, D1 above collegiate athlete to be able to finish that training. And guys, I will tell you the amount of guys who I swear to God look like they work at Home Depot with dad bods that I've seen crush special forces training, assessment and selection. I had one of my buddies, John, not going to use his last name out of respect because I'm talking a little trash. Not trash, but went through the entire Q course with this dude. He he did not look in shape. Let's just say that. I mean, he smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. He would, before a 5-mile run, like huff down an entire fucking cigarette. He always looked hungover. He was always sweating. He always looked like shit. He drank like a fish. This dude was constantly drinking. Had a pretty substantial beer gut, right? This dude, we would every 5-mile run test we would be in. I would be like 2 miles in, feel like I'm crushing it, and 2.5 miles in, get to the turnaround point, you start to slow down, and here would come this motherfucker, right past me, dude, pouring sweat, completely soaked, gut jiggling, and just would crush me every single run, every single ruck, every single PT event. The amount of guys, and it was always like there was always like the 36-year-old dude just came from the 82nd Airborne who like looked like he was on his 8th divorce. Again, just huffing down cigarettes right before these runs. And there was another dude that reminds me of another guy. He was probably, I don't know, I forget his name. He was an E6, which was pretty high rank when we were going through the course. He looked like he was about fucking 55 years old, even though he was probably 30, from the 82nd platoon sergeant. And dude, I never saw somebody. He slept 3 hours a night, no more than that, every single night. And this dude, I've never seen somebody smoke so many cigarettes in my life. Like every break, entire cigarette. Every bathroom break, entire cigarette. Like out it because you can smoke sometimes in different levels of training. We don't really have a really strict anti-tobacco policy. Like you can take dip out to training events and whatnot. Dude, just constantly ripping these. And that motherfucker would run a 32-minute 5-mile. He would huff down. He would huff down like Marlboro. He smoked Marlboro Reds, dude, cowboy killers, and he would huff down. Sometimes I'd see him. I swear he smoked one before like the PT test, the physical part, and then when we were getting ready to run, he'd pull another one out and suck down another one, and he would be like literally top 3 guys on every single run, and it always like shocked me how some of these fucking dudes, like you would think, you look at him and you're like, this dude is one of the most unhealthy, unathletic people I've ever seen, and they could crush, man. So it's like, not that many guys you see look like your standard Rich Fronin type of like CrossFit athlete. Like a lot of these
Okay.
guys are just
Okay.
like
The
just
myth.
Home Depot workers, manager
Home
at Home
Depot
Depot or
dudes.
Office Space, dude, and then they
Yep.
just crush.
I got one. I got two. I got three. I'm gonna tell you about. So I got to talk about the cigarettes. So we had a chief from Korean Rock Seal who was already a Korean Rock Seal, and they sent him to us. He wasn't a chief. He was an E5. He was funny as shit, but he would start the run with a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah.
Like the instructors would be like, "You can't do that." He's like, "Oh, no, understand English."
Yeah.
And he would start off at like probably a 6-minute pace, 7-minute pace with the cigarette still smoking.
Oh my
And
God,
then
dude.
as soon as that cigarette went out, you see the butt come out and he would fucking drop it into gear and he was gone. Right. And then the other one. So I want everybody to understand why the Greek Adonises don't make it in our communities. Okay. So we had this dude, my dude, Jeff. I'm just going to say Jeff. I love dude. Okay. Led every PT. Okay. Protein shake, greens, no unhealthy eating, lean, maybe like 5% body fat, all his abs, just working out, leading every PT session. Okay. Here I am. I'm not fat. I'm 5'7", probably 200, 205, probably solid 12, 13% body fat. I was in shape. I didn't look like a turd, but I wasn't the Office Max guy, but I surely wasn't Mr. Fitness. Okay. So we got to go do this land nav course, independent land nav, 8 hours long. It took me like 4 hours to do. I'm really good at land nav. Okay. So I get done. They call me. We're not going to pick you up for 4 more hours. All right, cool. So I take a nap on the side of the road, right? We're out at Pickett, just out in the middle of the woods. And so just lay down, whatever. So I get picked up and they're like, "Hey man, did you see Jeff out there?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see him." Like, "What's wrong?" He hasn't reported in. Okay, cool. So, hour goes by, 2 hours go by, 3 hours go by, 4 hours go by. Now we're all looking and we're in SQT. So we're in advanced SEAL training. Everybody's out there walking his points, trying to find it. Okay. 12 midnight, they're driving down a dirt road and your boy is laying next to the dirt road in chronic cramps. Can't move.
Oh no, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Didn't have no body fat, bro. Didn't have no long-term slow burn energy. He was in chronic cramps. And here's the problem. The 3 chiefs that were out there. Remember I told you how in SQT, senior guys that are coming back into the community will go to SQT again. So these 3 chiefs were like, "Bro, you got to eat, man. You can't be that lean in this job. Like it's going to hurt you."
No.
"I'll be fine." And he could run. He was fast runner. Good dude, man. He wasn't a little dude. And after that, man, my boy fattened right up because they were like, "Yeah, man." He had been rolling and like inchworming for 12 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was usually probably one of the most lean guys in training and on a teams. And I don't think I was ever below probably 10% body fat.
Yeah.
As one of the most lean guys. And even then, a lot of the times I would try to put on body fat before like you go out to squad unit tactics, ranger school, SERE school. Like you're eating everything you can. As long as you stay, you're staying in good enough shape to pass your PT test. But like Jake said, and that's in combat too, man. Like going out on 14-hour operations in the 100-degree heat, like, and you're 6-7% body fat, like, homie, you're going down, dude. Like you are going down. That is not a thing. Yeah.
I got one more. Let's hit you with this one. I'm going to ask you if you have this. Do you have Live the Lie? Have you ever heard that? Like, is that one of the things that runs around in the Green Beret? Live the Lie?
Is that like fake it till you make it type of thing?
Kind of. So like, don't tell the public the truth. Always like so a lot of times you're gonna be like, hey man, I heard you guys ran 26 miles on Fridays. I'm like, shit. SEAL Team 2 ran 52 miles one time. They got dropped off at North Carolina, had to run home. Yeah. That shit was the funniest shit in the world. But anyway, so this Live the Lie shit is real. You go to the bar, and I don't know, do you guys do this? Like you go to the bar, there's a whole cover for everybody. Like, hey, we're in town to clean the Washington Monument. One of our big ones was we're monument cleaners.
We would always do that. We would be like a rugby team. or like something that made sense that could be plausible, especially in foreign countries. We would always do that.
Our shit was always something stupid. Like, yeah, we're in town to clean, the Thomas Jefferson Memorial. What? Yeah, it's all made out of marble. We got to use this special chemicals. It's a pretty cool job. So it worked wonders with the women. They'd be like, "Oh my God, like where have you been?" I'm like, "Shit, I've been at every shit. We were cleaning Mount Rushmore the other day." What? Like, yeah, man, we were at Mount Rushmore for like 9 weeks. We were cleaning your boy, George Washington off. He had some bird shit on his nose. But so that was one of the myths that I would just be like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like just be crazy shit. Like everybody, and God help you if you told somebody the truth, man. So the other one was, you get asked a lot, Nate, you think I could make it?
Oh yeah.
So my senior chief was like, "Hey man, you always tell him yes." "Oh fuck it, you crushed that shit, bro. You should go." And then you just see their whole demeanor. You'd be on a ship, some 400-pound dude. "I could have made it through SEAL training." Like, fuck yeah, bro. I can see it in you, man. You should have made you. And it'd be funny because then you got a buddy for life, man. You need something on the ship. "Hey, what do you need, sir?" "Oh man, can I get one of those? "Oh yeah, I'll be right back with it." So just those
That's
myths,
awesome, dude.
those big myths, like live the lie is maybe the biggest mantra in the SEAL teams. Live the lie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we have a few. I mean, there's like the one that's one of the more common one is like first rule of special forces, always look cool. That's like a big one. As like a funny one. But yeah, I mean, typically we're not gonna you're not gonna downplay something, right? You're always gonna like the fish is always bigger. When we talk about training and how hard it is, right? SUT or whatever, it's like the fish is always a little bit bigger than it is because reality, guys, like if you're in good shape, and what I mean by good shape is like you take care of yourself, even if it's calisthenic shape, running shape, you can pass all the events. Like it's all up here. Like it's literally 95% up here. The rest is like pretty good shape. Pretty good shape. If you're in pretty good shape and you have the right mindset and mentality, like you'll make it. It's physically brutal, and it's physically demanding and challenging. One of the most physically demanding things you'll ever do in your life. However, not to the point to where it takes some fucking super soldier to be able to do it. It just takes a mentally tough son of a bitch to just not quit, be a good dude. I know it's so cliche to say these things, but Jake knows too. Like, be a good dude, try hard, be in pretty good shape, don't be an asshole, don't quit, and your chance of success is actually pretty high. If you can actually do all of those things, there's always offset risks. You might get hurt, you might fail an event, like there's that, but like if you can do all of those things, pretty high chance of success. Real quick, Jake. Super chat from C Caraway, $5. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Nate, for helping open the eyes of non-military subscribers like myself when it comes to things like Britt Slabinski and Tim Kennedy. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, I don't really go after anybody other than the real shitheads. And I do think it's important because especially for civilians that don't know better, like you guys should be getting accurate portrayals of what the American military and your fellow veterans and whatnot actually did in the global war on terror. And we should be paying homage and respect to people like John Chapman, not people like Britt Sablinski. That's where it's not just about tearing down people, it's about honoring the people that deserve to be honored, in my opinion.
And the other part of that, Nate, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm telling you, man, it's 2025. If you think you're going to get away with lying about some stuff,
Nope.
like there's too many people that know the truth that are gonna weasel that. Like they may not want to come out on the podcast, right? Prison rules and SF. We don't snitch. Okay. They're not going to come out, but they're going to get the information to the people that are willing to talk about it. And that's the part of it where I just, like 20 years ago, you could lie about your whole career. You could lie about your whole life. I mean, I got a dude that lied about his whole resume and is now the CEO of a company. And the first 5 jobs on his resume when he started were all fictitious lies with corresponding fictitious recommendation people that would get called and have to lie on his behalf about how good a job he did.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think that's a big reason why you sort of have this this demographic of, I call them the old guard soft veteran influencers who made careers off of just a bunch of made up shit, because 10, 15 years ago, there was nobody in the space. And also, the vast majority of us were active duty. So, like, now the global war on terror has ended, right? And like all these veterans like me are retiring. And so, yeah, all these dudes that worked with you that before were too busy to even have social media to even know what the hell you were talking about. Now all of a sudden they're out and going, wait a second, I worked with you, and that's not what fucking happened. So,
wait a minute. You didn't shoot Osama bin Laden.
exactly.
You didn't shoot Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't shoot Osama bin Laden. Now, let me be clear. Everybody shot Osama bin Laden, but the dude that shot him and killed him is still at damn neck, okay? Like, it ain't one of these dudes that got out and made millions off of shooting Osama, but everybody shot him, man. They said his body was like, like it was hard to put in a body bag.
I've seen the picture.
Oh, you saw the picture of it? Mm-hmm. Of his full body?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh, well, then you know, like his body was shot a whole bunch of times by everybody on the team for plausible deniability.
The dude who did shoot him shot him in the fucking face and ruined his fucking face and almost ruined the whole thing. Because now it's like, how do we even fucking show that this is the real dude? You guys know who that is. You know who that guy is. If you had to guess, it's not a hard one to figure out. He's the one that claims he's the one that killed him. So whoopsies. But yeah.
Oh no. But anyway, my point is, like, dog, it's 2025. If you want to lie about your life and everything else, like, you're gonna have to find another job, because it's like the internet is too powerful and the truth's gonna come out. You know, Cat's trying to tell me, like, I love this one. I lie all the time. Okay, you could call Tony Harris. Just call me on the phone. You call Tony Harris and ask him how much I lie. Dude know me since first grade. He'll tell you that dude don't lie about shit. If he tell you some unbelievable shit, it's unbelievable, and he did it. Like, I laid in the bed with 7 lesbians. That shit was incredible. Nobody believes me. But in the middle of it, I called my boy Bernard Dean. Shout out to Bernard. And he can attest, because he was yelling at me over the phone, hung the phone up. Then he called me back the next day and was mad at me because I called him from the middle of a bed with 7 lesbians. Okay, I don't know how I get in these situations. They just happen from time to time. So listen.
Yeah, but like you're saying, lies. Well, you can try, but you can be like Tim Kennedy, and it worked for 15 years. And then guess what? You lied about your awards and your medals. And then somebody that fucking works with you sends me that dude's actual IPERM official records. Like, I'll just pull your records from a dude I know that knows you. Right. And now, not supposed to do that, but that's the reality of what will happen in 2025. Everything's digital. Whoop, quick snapshot on the computer. Here you go. Here's his records. Oh, turns out this dude's full of shit, and I can prove he's lying with this, right? So we're in that era now. So I agree with you on that, Jake. There's just too many dudes there are witnesses to everything with what we do, other than Shrek's solo missions, right? Other than that, and I'm not saying those didn't happen. I'm just saying, other than that, we do everything as a team, which means there's 5 to 10 other dudes out there who've seen anything you claim to have done or not to have done.
So let's just talk about this real quick, Nate, because his single mission out there to wherever he went for 2 weeks on his own is so I want to say it's unbelievable, but here's what I'm gonna say. It just proves his level of psychoticness, right? Like his ability to be psychotic is at a level so far past everybody else. Not only did he go downrange into Badland country for 2 weeks on his own, he lived to tell about it. Okay. Now, I know that, like, no one has come out and said it's not true. Not one person has come out and said it's not true. Nope. I just got to say, like, when I tell people that it's a psychotic environment, I want you to think about, just think about just you, Nate. You're going to go into South Central circa 1990 and hang out for 2 weeks and come out alive. Oh, and you're a DEA informant. Fuck it. Let's make it as bad. You're a DEA informant. You're going to walk right into South Central, hang out for 2 weeks, and come back alive. Yeah, no. Bro. You got a special set of skills, and you
I wasn't
your
even
head
willing.
Just ain't right.
I wouldn't even be willing to go into Kandahar City in 2018 by myself. Fuck that, dude. no, thanks. I will say there's, I've never heard anybody. Well, I have heard some things. I shouldn't say that, but the stories. I'm not saying it's not true. I will say there's some questionable stuff to it, just from assets being involved, right? Like, you got to think about a Delta Force operator. The amount of money that goes into producing a Delta Force operator is extreme. The likelihood that Special Operations is going to send any Delta Force operator, Green Beret, out by themselves with no support and risk that asset extremely low. However, if they are going to do that, I'm just saying, I'm not just saying Shrek stories. I'm just saying, looking at it
during that
objectively,
time, there was some fly by the seat of your pants shit going
yeah.
on.
I mean, there could be. I'm not saying I don't believe it.
I know some dudes that, like, in the middle of the war, they had Omega teams working. Them cats was working directly for the agency. My dude said, man, we were doing some of the sketchiest shit in the world. We were going into host nations getting people out. Like we were going into some wild places with like 3-man teams. No support.
Oh, well, we have Jedburgs. We do this at Green Berets. We have Jedburg teams. We do this with 3 guys in foreign countries all the time. But it's a little bit different than sending someone in by themselves. Now, if you're going to do that, then you're also probably going to give them a shit ton of assets to do that, to make sure that doesn't happen. And if you do that, then assets, as you know, in the Middle East, there's not a lot. They get pulled from something else. So again, I don't know. I have no idea. Again, I would imagine by now, if these were completely made up, there would have been dudes who've come out and said, absolutely, these stories aren't true, but nobody has. So I'm going to assume they're true. But like you said, it's pretty fucking insane. Like, the fact that to be allowed to do it and then actually doing it is actually just batshit crazy.
And the other one, Nate, that I'm going to throw out there is kind of a backstop for Shrek. The old dude in the CIA that was operating at like 78. Okay. I can't think of his name.
Billy
Waugh. Okay. I just read him
since Vietnam.
Him calling back to DC and being like, yo, I'm having coffee with Osama bin Laden. Do you guys want to kill him? They're like, what? Yeah. I'm like, he's at the next table over. I've been eating. He comes here for coffee in the mornings. Like, would you like me to kill him? Like, this is circa like 95-ish. Well, we're not sure. Okay. So for like a week, Billy Waugh sitting next to Osama bin Laden. He was like, I don't understand what the big deal was to find him, man. I found him pretty quickly. You're like, But there's just dudes in our government. Like, there's some bad dudes. You think you're a bad dude? Like, go stand next to Billy Waugh or his
that's
boy.
Fair. Billy Waugh was doing that shit all over the fucking world by himself for 4 decades, 5 decades. So like we do it, right? And what's crazy is I think he was doing it for 4 decades, and he got it was something like 70 plus different missions, and he never got caught, not once. And he was doing it in his 70s in Afghanistan.
Late 70s. Late 70s. Okay. So like, if you think you're a bad dude, just pull up him, right? Like, like I'm I'm glad I can make my bed in the morning. That's where I'm at. That's the level that I'm at. I'm making my bed. Billy Waugh's out here running around at 78 years old, murking people with an MP5 SD. So
I know, man. All right. I think we're good.
Brother.
I think we nailed another one.
Killed it.
So thank you, everybody. Thanks you for all the donos, the memberships for both me and Jake. Appreciate y'all showing up. And Jake, anything else?
We got to send a shout out to Tasty Gains. Okay. I'm telling you, Tasty Gains. I just have it in the screen. You got 2 hours of exposure. Right, I can't take these, man, dude. I was working out with the kids, man. I'm telling you, man. Tasty Gains pre-workout gummies is my pre-podcast fire.
Man. They're good. I take 2 of these. I hit the gym. 400 milligrams of caffeine. Woo! Sweating, dude.
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody. Appreciate y'all.
All right, man. Nate, have a great rest of your weekend. Yes, sir.
See you guys.
Hey, I won't be here next week, Nate.
All right, guys. You hear that? Next week we got off.
Yeah, we're off next Sunday. I'm going to be in Washington State. Anybody in Washington State, holler at me. I'll be in town. We are burying the first friend from first grade. So he's not in our class, but he's one of our tight dudes. And so we're burying our first Silicamonite. Kind of crazy, man. It's very surreal, man. So, all right. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
All right, everybody. See you guys.